If you are interested in, again, this is called the Beluga Interaction, you can feel free to come up to me for more information at any time. Or you can always go to guest services to reserve your spot to get into the pool with our friends, the Beluga Whales. As we're starting here our interaction, a friendly reminder that this is an open water area. So right here, there is nothing protecting you or your items from going into the water. So for your safety, just have a nice hold of your personal items and you ask that you don't dangle anything over the exhibit itself.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Whoa. Whoa.
Is he okay?
Alright, so in our waters you can see our friends, the beluga whales. Beluga whales do come from they swim around the Arctic and subarctic regions. You are going to hear quite a bit of vocalization today with our guests and our trainers in the water. Now, as we're looking at the tops of their heads, you're going to see that they have really large foreheads, or what we call melons. And then they're going to have a little hole right behind that melon. If you just hop on deck, take a deep breath. That blowhole on the back of their heads are going to produce all the different vocalizations you're going to hear today. So beluga whales are not going to have any vocal cords. So the way I communicate with you is by vibrating my vocal cords back and forth quickly, and that produces noise and sound. Cetaceans, like our beluga whales, don't have any of those vocal cords. So how they produce noise is by blowing oxygen or air straight through that blowhole, squeezing that blowhole in different ways, and producing noise. If you've ever inflated a balloon, if you inflate a balloon and then you let go and squeeze it and it makes fun little noises on how you squeeze it, that's the same idea on how our beluga whales and just whales in general are going to vocalize. So again, like I said, you're going to hear lots of different vocalizations going on here today. Coming from our beluga whales. Beluga whales are known as the most vocal whale. Out in the wild, they're given the name the sea canary because of how many different vocalizations they can do. And it's reported that they can produce over 40 different vocalizations. Now, our beluga whales, like I said, live throughout the Arctic and subarctic regions of the world. So that's going to be the North Pole. Their environment is going to consist of lots of ice and snow, and lots of ice caps as well. So it makes sense that they have adapted to have that nice white coloration to their bodies. That white coloration helps them blend in again to those ice caps that they fish and hunt under.
Whoa!
Now, if you visit the exhibit when our beluga whales are swimming throughout this area, you are also going to see some beluga whales in these waters that are a nice gray coloration. And that is because when beluga whales are born, they're actually born a really dark gray color, kind of like a dolphin. And then as they grow into adulthood, they're slowly going to mature into that nice white coloration that you see with our adults in the water.
See that?
So again, when you visit here, you might see some gray beluga whales swimming around in these waters. Now again, like I said, Klondike, the one closest towards us right now. He is our largest beluga whale that we have. And as you can see here with our training and training for any of our animals, we're going to do positive affirmation. So every time our beluga whale does something nice, you're going to see that they are in contact with their trainers at all times. You're going to see that our trainers also have a little whistle on their person. This whistle allows the beluga whales to hear the trainers. The beluga whales' frequency on what they can hear is much different from our own frequency, so how we talk and how you're listening to my voice. Beluga whales can't really hear that because my frequency is too low for them. So that's why you're going to see the trainers using that nice whistle. That whistle is what we call a bridge signal, and it allows the beluga whales to know that they are doing correct interactions. Now, beluga whales are pretty unique animals. Across their bodies, you're going to see that beluga whales are missing something very important that we see on most whales and cetaceans, and that is going to be a dorsal fin. So beluga whales are one of the very few whales that don't have that big fin alongside their back. So again, that dorsal fin. It is hypothesized that beluga whales don't have a dorsal fin for two reasons. One, dorsal fins do release body temperature, and like we said earlier, beluga whales are going to live in very cold environments, and they need to make sure to conserve all that body temperature that they can. So a lack of dorsal fin is very beneficial for them. Apart from that, since they are constantly hunting underneath the ice caps in caves, the dorsal fin can get caught and endanger the beluga whale. So the lack of the dorsal fin, again, is beneficial for them to move around their environment. So you'll see the trainer is touching the back of our female right now. You're going to see a little pinched off area, and that is going to be what we call a dorsal ridge. So the dorsal ridge is there in replacement of a dorsal fin.
They're so cute.
Dorsal ridges are really hardened off areas across the backs of our beluga whales. And when they are under ice and need to make a blowhole, if the ice is thin enough, beluga whales will use that hardened off dorsal ridge, smack it against the ice until it breaks to create a blowhole. A breathing hole, not a blowhole. A breathing hole. So you gotta keep in mind, folks, that beluga whales are going to be mammals just like us. So again, they are going to be warm-blooded. They're going to breathe oxygen just like you and I. They're going to give live birth. And they're also going to give milk to their young. So again, being able to break through that ice at any time possible with that dorsal ridge is really important for our friends since they breathe that oxygen.
Let's let Daddy Grace. There, Grace. Daddy, look. Right there. No, that's a beluga. It's a whale. That's not a dolphin. That's a whale. Yeah, let's go to the next.
Now, since our